My name is Joshua Gilyard. I'm an actor, content creator, writer, producer, director, and yeah, just an all-around fabulous person. I never saw myself as producing content. I never saw myself directing stuff. And when I started out, I didn't know what I was doing. It took time, and it took doing it every single day and learning the technique of doing it. You can't just focus on like if you're a good singer or you're a good writer, because that's only going to get you so far. My mom put me in several church plays starting around like 12 years old. And I started doing theater when I got into high school. And I knew then that that was something that I wanted to pursue, but my parents didn't necessarily have the finances to put me in those classes, so I had to wait till I was 18. And I got a mentor by the name of Bonita Nicehood. And I went to her because I wanted to audition for this school called Florida School of the Arts. And they didn't take me because I didn't know how to sing. I didn't necessarily know how to do a monologue. And I went to Bonita and she told me to do a plie. And I didn't know what a plie was. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that is. So I trained with her for a year. And from there I went on to get accepted at Santa Fe Community College and go to Jacksonville University. And I had a career in theater. And I started to realize that my passion was more so into film and TV, just because I didn't see myself on that platform yet. I'm currently working on a couple projects. Some of them are up and running right now. The one that you see on me right now is Queen of the Ratchet. It's a brand that was actually started on Vine as a joke. And I stopped doing it because one of my agents told me that it was bad for my brand. And that it was bad for me as an actor to do this because people in the acting community would not take me seriously. So I stopped it. And I started working on other projects. This show is basically kind of like a Saturday Night Live-esque type feel with a whole bunch of parodies. I'll take a song, especially during the Christmas season, I'll take a couple songs and I'll remake them into a joke or about men or about what's going on in the world. And it's basically just me being free to say how I feel with no holds bars, like with no repercussions. I also feel like the reason why I felt like I needed to bring this brand back, because I feel like as a society, I feel like we're all very like scared to be who we are. So I felt like this brand is basically giving people the opportunity to, if I had the opportunity to say what I wanted to say, I could say it. I also sit and make parodies over Disney voiceovers, which started as a joke and now it's a series, and I didn't mean for it to be a series, but now it's this kind of series where I will take a old Disney classic and I'll remake it into a Ratchet storyline.
You don't get any copyright troubles with that?
So here's the thing about that. Not now. I don't get paid for it. And I told my followers last year, I said, okay, I'm going to stop doing this because I don't want Disney to come after me. And I was like, well, I'm not really getting any compensation from it, so let me just continue the storyline. My goal with this show is to eventually to stop doing the parodies that I remake from songs and the cartoons that I remake, and actually have my own cartoon and actually make my own music. And I'm actually going to be starting a podcast with this brand very soon. So I'm not necessarily worried about copyright because I'm not getting paid for anything, but my goal this year is to actually make a podcast with this show. The reason I won't stop this show, because I really don't necessarily make money off of this show. And sometimes I'll talk to myself and I'll be like, you should stop this one because this one is very risque. It's because a lot of people DM me and be like, you know, you made my day. or I was going through depression and you're helping me through my depression, or I'm in the hospital right now with my brother and he's dying of something and you're helping me get through this. So I thought to myself, I said, okay, this project and what I'm doing is bigger than me. So my last show, which was started about 5 years ago, and the first time I did it, it was basically taken to this guy. It's called Odden. And this show is more so about my relationship with my sister helping to raise the two kids. And it's a different perspective than GUncle because it's me and her world about like our struggles about trying to parent these two kids and her being a single mother and me trying to step into this world where I really don't know what I'm doing and trying to maintain our love lives and our careers and what we're striving to do. And I got inspired by Modern Family because Modern Family was really popular back then. And I was like, well, what if it was like a HBO Modern Family where you didn't really have to hold back? And I'd seen it done before, and we did have Real Husbands of Hollywood and stuff like that, but I wanted something a little bit more authentic and grounded. And I met this very talented guy. His name is Jeff Conjay about 5 years ago. And I was telling him about the idea. And I showed him what I had paid for it, and he said, I could produce this, I could direct this better for you. And it became a passion project for me and Jeff, and we did 5 seasons of that show. I stopped doing the show, and I realized that I felt like what was going on in the world and and I thought about the characters. I was like, well, what would have happened to those characters? And I was like, man, and maybe I need to bring this show back. So my goal this year is to bring Odden back with the original cast. It's a little bit more adult. It's not as family oriented as GUncle, but the message is still there. So the character I play in GUncle is a little bit more like a Full House-esque, Cosby-esque type character. The character that I play in Odden is a little bit more ratchet and unapologetic and not as a family guy as the character that I play in GUncle. He's a little bit more disrespectful. And I did that. That's something that I really wanted to show. Another thing my agents were saying is if you keep playing gay parts, then they're always going to typecast you. And I had to have a conversation with myself. Is like, is it such a bad thing if I'm only playing gay parts? Because at the end of the day, when are we going to see a gay show just a gay show, not just Pose, but like we tune in and just be like, okay, oh, there's a gay show and everybody's sitting down watching it. Not necessarily like gay people are watching or we're saying, oh, it's a gay agenda, which is stupid when people say that. It was all started because me and my niece and nephew have a very strong bond, and I'm basically kind of like a dad figure to them. I tell them that all the time, that I think of them as a son and a daughter. And my sister gave me the idea for the show. She said, well, why don't you do a show with just you and the kids and no cussing, and it's just the stuff that you guys go through. And I took a year to bring the show back, because now the show's back along with Queen of the Ratchet, and I had a conversation with them last night, and I said, we might not necessarily get to tell this story when it does get picked up, but it's going to get picked up, but it's bigger than us, because there's a lot of GUncles and there's a lot of people out there, not just gay men, but gay women that are taking good care of kids, that this story needs to be told. Because I also believe that we still need to enforce that gay people aren't the butt of the joke, and that there's gay people out there that are taking care of kids, that are in the communities helping in different types of ways. So I felt like this show needed to be brought back because it spoke to a lot of people. The other show that I have, this show right here, which is Opposing Views, was brought to me by one of my good friends, Xavier Wilcher. And it's basically the relationship between two guys on opposite sides of the spectrum. It's called Opposing Views. And he brought it to me because he had a relationship with a very close friend of his in the community, Sean Bankhead, and they grew up together. And he said, I want to do a show with a gay man and a straight man, and I just want to do some sketches. So we sat down. I said, well, what if they were best friends? And we were in a subway not too far from here in the West End. And we came up and we were just tossing ideas back and forth. And I was like, oh, they grew up together. And he was like, yeah, they grew up together. And maybe they moved here for dance. And we came up with a show like that. And I said, okay, let's shoot an episode, but let's make it a minute long because I don't necessarily think people want to sit there for 20 minutes. Let's see what happens. Let's see it. And I wasn't necessarily expecting for this one to take off too. And what I told him is I said, I don't want it to be like this all the time. Even though there's that opposite side of the spectrum, I really want it to be where, what if this straight man and this gay man were friends if we didn't necessarily discuss that much? It was just that they were friends. Because in the Black community, you rarely see a straight man and a gay man being best friends and the straight man not having problems with it. I feel like that was the reason why I really felt like this show needed to be put on a platform, because I want us as Black people to get to a point where it's okay for two Black men, whether they be gay or straight, to hang out together and you're not thinking, oh, they're a couple or anything like that. There's still a lot of homophobia in the Black community that exists. So for me, I was passionate about this show, and that when it came out, I thought to myself, okay, I was right, this is getting a message across too, where people are buying into this as well, and they want to see this.
And it's mainly a comedy?
It is. All the content I do right now, I focus primarily on comedy. A couple of my mentors and a couple of books I've read say that to get really good at something, you have to do it for about 10 years. And I really wanted to focus, even though I really love drama, I usually only watch drama on TV. I really wanted to focus like 10 years of my life just being a master at different types of comedy, clean comedy, dirty comedy, family comedy, and just mastering in on that. Like last year I did like a stand-up routine and everything. Just becoming a master at that work.